and connect us to live Zooming, live streaming. I'll actually make sure this started. And it has started. Great. And see, we have attendees. Welcome. We'll get started here in a minute. Olivia, we can give it another minute, but you should feel free to go ahead and start in whenever you like.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started, and if anyone joins, that's great as well. Hi everyone, my name is Olivia Tim. My pronouns are she or they, and this is the Savings with Solar workshop about the Oregon Community Solar's low income program. And I work with Community Energy Project. We're the low income facilitator for community solar, which means that we do a lot of the education and outreach for folks about the community solar program. So I'll just dive on in. So Community Energy Project is a Portland-based nonprofit organization, and we do a lot of different cool stuff. So if anything on this list is interesting to you, I would go ahead and check out our website, which is communityenergyproject.org. But we do a variety of other workshops and education programs, such as our both summer and winter series about DIY home weatherization. We also do lead poisoning prevention workshops and different workshops about how to do lead-safe home projects and renovations. We also offer quite a few different types of direct home services for folks who qualify, anything from energy audits to new appliances or weatherization, safety repairs, really quite a few things. So again, feel free to check out communityenergyproject.org for more info on any of those services. So community solar. Community solar is basically the type of solar energy or solar installation that allows individuals to sign up for shared off-site solar installations. So think like the big solar farm that you see off the side of the highway as you're driving down I-5. And then you can sign up to receive credits and receive energy benefits through a subscription. So it works like a subscription service. And it's a lot different than the type of solar energy that a lot of folks are familiar with, which is rooftop solar. Rooftop solar has quite a few financial barriers. You know, it's very expensive to get that process started. There's a lot of ongoing maintenance, right? If you have debris or dirt on your solar panels on your roof, you have to climb up there and clean them. It also, really requires that your home is situated in the perfect direction with no shade or trees or obstructions. It's not mobile, right? You can't take your solar panels with you if you move, and it generally doesn't work for folks who are renters. So there's a lot of barriers to rooftop solar, and community solar really knocks down a lot of those barriers. Number one, for our program, there's no upfront costs or termination fees, right? It's free to sign up, it's free to cancel. There's no maintenance because you never have to see or touch a solar panel as part of this program. You don't have to clean anything off. You don't have to worry about them getting damaged because they're somewhere else, right? They're offsite. You can take your subscription with you if you move, just like you could take a Netflix subscription with you from home to home, regardless of housing situations. You can rent, own, apartment, manufactured homes, generally situations that are not always accessible for rooftop solar. Pretty much anywhere that you live where your electric bill is in your name, you can participate in community solar. So this program exists thanks to the 2016 Oregon State Bill. Otherwise, it's also known as the Coal to Clean Bill. Basically, it stated that half of Oregon's energy has to be renewable by 2040, which is a pretty big goal. And we have to be completely off of our dependency on coal by 2030. And right now, that's a pretty lofty goal. Right now, Oregon gets about 27% of its electricity from burning coal. So we are on our way to reducing that drastically in the next, now 7 years. And another part of that bill, the Coal to Clean Bill, was community solar. And it stated that 10% of every big solar development, every big solar farm built in Oregon has to be reserved for low-income customers. And that is where Community Energy Project entered the arena. And we helped design this program to be really safe and accessible to low-income individuals. And what is a low-income individual? That's a great question. It is based on these income qualifications. They do go up every single year with inflation. So it's just based on your household size and then your monthly or annual income. And that's gross or before taxes for all of the adults in the home combined. We don't require income verification through our program. We don't need any paperwork or documentation to prove your income. Essentially, at the time of your intake, you just tell us the information and we write it down, and that's all. And so the program also serves customers of Portland General Electric, Pacific Power, and Idaho Power. And that's everyone who lives within these colored in service territories here within Oregon. It doesn't look like it covers that much of Oregon. However, 90% of Oregon's population lives within these 3 service territories. So it does cover, quite a few people in Oregon who are able to participate in the program. So as long as you meet the income guidelines, you live in one of these colored in orange, green, or yellow areas, and your electric bill is in your name, meaning you don't live in a big apartment complex that has your electricity bill built into your rent. There's a different type of community solar that can work with that, but it doesn't work for just the regular low income program. So how does this program work? Like I said earlier, it works like a subscription service. And as a subscriber, you would sign a contract between you and your project manager. That contract lasts the entire lifespan of the solar farm, which is anywhere from 10 to 20 years. And your project manager is the entity. Sometimes it's a community-based organization, a solar company, or a housing organization. A lot of them are solar developers, but they are ultimately your number one point of contact when you're subscribed. If you had any questions or if you wanted to update, change your subscription, you would contact them. But they're also ultimately responsible for the project and making sure that it's functioning and fully subscribed. And that contract that you sign with them includes a few things. It includes the size of your subscription, which we'll talk more about in a second, your monthly credits, your monthly fees, and the contact information for the project manager. The contract is free to sign, it's free to cancel, it's transferable, which I'll talk more about in a second. And it basically just kind of outlines all of the protections of being a low income subscriber. So when we talk about your subscription size, that means that you are subscribing to a portion of this larger shared project. And that portion is a different size depending on how much electricity your home needs. So for example, like a family who lives in a family of 6 in a larger full single family house is going to subscribe to probably a lot more energy than a person living in a studio apartment on their own. They're using electricity in different ways and different amounts. So when we size your subscription, we go in and look at the ideally last year of your electricity consumption history, right? So for example, if you consumed 10,000 kilowatt hours of electricity over the last year, that's just a unit of measurement of electricity. That's you consume 10,000 over the last year. We're going to size your subscription kind of modestly from that. We'll size it at 80%, so 8,000 kilowatt hours a year. That's just to avoid the one potential risk of this program, which is called oversubscription. And oversubscription would mean that you would be subscribing to more electricity than you're going to use, more electricity than you are using. In turn, you're also paying the subscription fee on that larger amount, and you're earning bill credits on that larger amount. And at the very end of the year, the electric company does something called the true up, where they kind of try and balance all of these things out. And they'll say, oh, Olivia was using this much electricity, or she was, subscribing to this much electricity, but using so much less. We're going to need all of those credits back. And then they're going to hit me with a bill for my credits back. So we really avoid that in 2 ways. Number one, we size modestly. We size at 80% of what you're actually using. And then we also have a system that runs quarterly checks, and it flags to make sure any account that's using less than they're subscribed to is adjusted as quick as possible. So oversubscription isn't too much of a risk with those 2 things. We just like to talk about it in terms of sizing there. So bill savings, you will save money every single month as a low income subscriber. And that does fluctuate month to month depending on the solar production. In Oregon, we get really long hours of sunlight in the summertime. So this is a scenario for August, to just kind of an example to see what it might look like on your bill. So the normal utility fees, $84. Let's say that's just what you pay on a normal given month in August. You're going to earn, in this case, this person earned $138 in credits. That's credits based on the energy generated by your portion of solar panels. And then in turn, you're also paying subscription fees. So bill credits and subscription fees always go together hand in hand. And as a low income subscriber, the whole reason that you're saving money is because you have a discounted subscription fee. You'll get anywhere from a 20 to 40% discounted subscription fee, which means that every single month, your credits cover the full cost of your subscription fees, and that remainder amount just gets passed on to your bill as the form of savings or credits. So in this case, the person paid $110 in subscription fees, which again, significantly less than that $138 in credits that you earned. And then the total calculation at the end, $56 bill, $28 in savings, or 33% reduction in the bill in summer, which is a month of high electricity generation. We're seeing high savings in the summer, anywhere from like 30 to 50% in some cases. So it really fluctuates depending on the sun. And then in January, it looks a little bit different, right? I should have mentioned before, the red here is the electricity that your home is using, and the green is what your solar panels are generating. So going back here, you're obviously generating way more energy than you're using in the summer, in this case. That does change if you're using air conditioning. So some of those things, it's all very dependent on the way that you uniquely use energy in your home. But anyway, back to January. So this household, $126 normal utility fees in the winter months. They earned $35 in bill credits. That's the green bars here of what their solar panels generated. You also are going to be paying those subscription fees again. So again, noting subscription fees always lower than bill credits, always going to be lower. And the end total, $119 here. Bill savings of about $7 or 6%, a little bit lower savings than in the summer, but kind of looking at the savings throughout the average of a year, you'll save anywhere from 10 to 15% on your electricity bill over the course of a year. So there are a lot of benefits to being a low income subscriber. Community Energy Project number 1, we make accommodations for every participant, meaning you don't need to have access to a computer or an email address to participate in the program. We can do everything over the phone and through physical mail. That's an option as well. We also have the use of translation services and can do the intakes in any language. There's no sign-up fees to participate, right? It's completely free to sign up. It's completely free to cancel. There's no cancellation fees, discounted monthly bills. There's also no late fees for low-income community solar, meaning if you are not able to pay your bill in full that month, you're not going to be continually adding on subscription fees and subscription fees and subscription fees, even if you're not paying your electric bill, and you won't ever be hit with a late fee for paying your bill from community solar. In the case that you were not able to make full payments on your electric bill, like I said, you're not going to be just continuing to rack up subscription fees. All that would happen in that case is that community solar would be on pause until you're able to, catch back up with making payments on your electric bill, and then community solar would just resume as normal. You can also transfer your subscription within the same household. For example, if you're living with roommates and someone has the electric bill in their name, and then someone else moves and wants to take over the electric bill, we can transfer the subscription within the same household very easily. But you could also keep that subscription with you if you were moving within the same utility provider's district. So if you have PGE as your provider, but you move to, New Mexico, you're not able to continue community solar. If you move to Pacific Power Territory, you are able to get back on community solar, but has to be like a whole different project, but it's still possible. And then how to participate. So we have a few options on how to participate. I'm going to put them in the chat here. Intake is the next step if you are interested. So intake can be done in a couple of different ways. Number 1, you can schedule an intake appointment over the phone. That is done at our website, which I have here in the chat. It's just oregoncsp.org/LI. You can also fill out this nice little Google form. That's also linked in the chat there. The Google form and the phone intake are the exact same thing. They ask all the same questions. So if you prefer to just fill out an online form, that's always an option. We do really encourage folks to schedule that intake appointment. So we catch you at a good time and you catch us at a good time, and we can just schedule that phone call. For the intake appointment, you'll need to know how many people live in your house, your total income, and you'll need to have a full copy of your electric bill on hand. So it's not just the utility account number as listed here. You'll need that full copy of your electric bill. It can be either a paper bill. It doesn't have to be your newest one. It can be an old one. The paper bill, or if you are having an online bill, you can download a full copy of that bill for intake. And so we'll just collect that information, the information about your household from your bill. That's also a really good time to ask any questions that you have about the program. The intake appointment can be, anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, depending on the information that you'd like to discuss. And then after intake, either phone or online, you'll be placed either on a wait list if we don't have any availability in the program, or directly onto a project if we do have availability at that moment. I will say right for this moment, if you're watching it on February 15th, we have pretty limited availability for now. So you would be placed on a wait list for either if you have PGE or Pacific Power. But luckily our wait lists are not super long right now, so it shouldn't be a really, really long wait. But just know there might be a little bit of a waiting period before you're actually assigned to a project. And when you are assigned to a project, you will be then connected with that project manager, and they will provide you the contract to sign. Like I said earlier, that contract is between you and your project manager. Like I said earlier, the contract is free to sign, free to cancel. It includes all of those protections of being a low income subscriber. You sign the contract between you and the project manager, and then you're just ready. You'll see the savings showing up on your regular electric bill. So there's no separate paperwork, no separate billing. It just comes on as like a line item in the breakdown of your charges on your electric bill. And I'm going to hang out for questions for a while. This is about the PGE bill discount program. It's fairly new. There's also a Pacific Power bill discount program that I don't have a slide for, unfortunately. But I should have mentioned earlier, the community solar is compatible with all other, bill assistance programs. So that means energy assistance, bill discount program, equal pay, peak time rebates. Trying to think if I'm forgetting anything, but it is compatible with all of those programs to help you save as much as you can on your electric bill. And this Portland General Electric bill discount program starts within 30 days. So definitely check that out if you're a PGE customer. It's really awesome. It's just based on your household size and income for an immediate discount on your bill. But I'm available if you have any questions. I'll hang out for a few minutes. But otherwise, feel free to reach out to me. My number is right here, the 8718 number, or you can email solar@communityenergyproject.org. We also have Erica Carranza on staff, and she is our Spanish campaign coordinator. She is able to do all of the intakes and education and pretty much everything I do, but in Spanish as well. So if you would like to schedule an intake appointment in Spanish, that is absolutely an option with Erica. And thank you so much for your time today. We're really excited about community solar. It's a really awesome way to, save money and support renewable energy infrastructure in Oregon. Our state is doing a lot of really, really cool things with community solar, and we're just seeing it kind of increasing every year. So would love to have you on board, and feel free to reach out with any questions.
And folks in this room can click on the chat button. If you hover over your screen, you'll get a little pop-up of options. One of them is chat. Or actually, it's a smaller group, so I'll just allow everyone to unmute and talk if you like.
Yeah, definitely.
If there are no questions, Olivia, thank you so much for joining us. And
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. And this is up on our YouTube now. I will actually stop our live stream.